the Zoom recording.
Okay.
Okay. Sweet.
Alrighty, here we are.
All right.
Very, very excited. Shiftan here, and we're about to interview somebody that I think is one of the most amazing people I've met in my life. And I've met so many amazing people. So I have a very amazing guest. And the best part of this is that if you would know his age, which I guess he will share or not share with you, and where he's at his stage of his life, it would just bewilder your mind. It's just like huge. Anyways, how are you, Nathaniel? Welcome.
Better than I deserve. How are you?
Doing fantastic, my brother.
Glad to
Doing
hear.
fantastic. So before we get started, before I, drill you, like they say, you did say you're an open book, so I'm going to take off my gloves. They're not on today, and we're just going to get down to business.
Let's do it.
Brother, tell me a little bit about yourself. So your full name, your age, and just your background, from day one till today, just a little bit of a small biography.
I love it. I'm Nathan Kolish. I'm 16, just turned 16 on the 25th of April.
16. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Guys, did you hear that? He's 16 years old.
Thank God.
All right, let's go. Continue.
Let's go. So I was born in New York, and I moved to Israel when I was around 3 years old, lived there till I was just about 6 for around 2.5 years, came back to New York once again, and I've been here ever since, Long Beach, New York.
Oh, wow.
I grown up in a modern Orthodox household, and I've really connected to Judaism, especially in the past few years, a lot more, really finding faith in where I stand as a person, and really grateful for my family. A lot of things come first. My family has definitely had a huge impression on who I am as a person, specifically my parents. That's a little bit about me. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying you were born in the US.
Yeah.
You went to Israel when you were 3 years old.
Yeah.
Came back here when you were how old? One more time.
I was a month away from 6.
6. And then from 6 to you're 16, 10 years.
Yeah.
Can you take us through that path?
Yeah, it's great. So in Israel, I was actually homeschooled. I was homeschooled in Israel. I came to New York and I went to school for kindergarten, first grade, second, third, fourth grade. I hated school. I remember I hated going to school every single day. My parents did not like the school system either.
Wow.
They still don't believe in it at all.
Was it private or yeshiva or public?
Yeah, it was private school. It was private school. It was yeshiva.
Private, like yeshiva, you mean?
Yeah, we went to South Shore and Hank. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. And
I didn't hear you.
South Shore and Hank. South Shore and Hank. It's different private schools in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it. My parents decided that they also hate it, right? They don't believe in it. And they gave me an opportunity to be homeschooled.
Okay.
I've been doing that. I went back like a few months, 1 or 2 months of 5th grade, but besides for that, I've been homeschooled ever since, now in 10th grade. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Definitely has attributed a lot to who I am as a person. I played basketball for around maybe 3 years. Seriously, wanted to play it professionally. It was a huge part of my life. I only did basketball. Like, I learned so much from it as a person, like character trait wise, determination, just communication, so many aspects. I ended up quitting that maybe 7-8 months ago and pursuing business instead.
So, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. So it's definitely, that was definitely a big thing in my life. Basketball played a big part.
Okay, so you were doing basketball where?
Locally, I played locally, different tournaments, different teams. Going to play college. YU was my goal.
YU. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were homeschooled through this whole process.
Yeah.
And then you played basketball, I guess, for like, how did that
AAU.
connect? Like, how did that happen? AU?
AAU. So this is the story. My friend Moshe, he got me in touch with this guy, Coach Woods, Coach Cleveland Woods. He's like, you should come to clinics Thursday nights or whatever it was. And I was like, okay. I went with my dad and I loved it. I fell in love. I used to play, once a month with my friends. I was never any good. And I loved it. And I went to the summer camp and I went like 3 times a week and I was trained every single day. And it was just my life. I fell in love with it. And I learned so much from basketball. That's kind of how I got into it. And I was like, I can get paid to do this? Sign me up. This is like the coolest thing ever. Get college paid for. And ended up getting burnt out. I don't know, burnt out. I went to I'm not sure if you're familiar with Uman, Rosh Hashanah, or Rabbi Nachman.
Yeah,
I went there this past Rosh Hashanah, Uman, Rosh Hashanah. There it is. I went there, and it was like 4 or 5 days without any basketball, which is the longest I've gone in well over a year. I came back, and I started playing basketball. It just didn't feel the same. I couldn't word it. And then I decided to pursue YouTube. I felt very lost in life. I had no direction. And I started making YouTube videos, basketball YouTube videos with my friends.
Wow.
And then I was like, I really want to pursue YouTube. This is really fun. And I don't think basketball is my thing. And then Coach Woods, I was talking to you about, unfortunately, he suddenly passed away. That was definitely a big challenge for me.
When was that?
That was I'm going to kill myself over the date, October 30th, if I'm not mistaken.
Of last year.
Last year, or November 30th.
Wow.
I don't remember the exact date. I'm trying to think.
Wow.
I would have to do a few minutes of thinking to get whether it's October or November. And that had a huge impact on me. That was a pivotal point as well. That was definitely challenging.
Wow.
He's 54, 55. So
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, life short.
So let me ask you, Tana. By the way, what name do you love? What do you associate most with? Because in my head, you're Nathaniel. Other people have called you Nathan. You said you had like 8 names. I also have a bunch of names, but what's the name that is your essence of who you are? Because I like Nathaniel personally. I'm sorry interrupting you, because it means Nathaniel, God gives. But go ahead.
It's great. It's a great question. On a personal level, Nathaniel. On more of a business level, Nathan.
Okay, fantastic. So can we go with Nathaniel? Is that cool?
It's perfect.
Because we're keeping it personal.
Let's do it. Always,
Okay.
Always.
So Nathaniel, so you were doing the basketball, you lost your coach. Tell me the moment in time, please, when you transitioned into this business mindset. What happened? What were those series of steps that gave you that breakthrough? That's what I wanted.
It's a great question. No one's ever asked me that before.
Well, that's why you're here to shift on. Let's go.
Yes, to shift on. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
September, I started making YouTube videos. I joined something called Creator Now by Eric. It's a pretty famous YouTuber. By Eric. Eric Decker is his name, but his YouTube channel is Eric. And it was a community of 300 YouTubers who are serious about pursuing YouTube. I met some of my closest friends to this day from it. And it's so cool. I had friends there that had like a few hundred or a few thousand subscribers. Now they have 80,000, 100,000, over a million, right? And to see my friends, like, it's so cool. Like, I had a friend who went from, he had like 7,000 subscribers. He has well over 500,000 now.
Wow.
And it was just so much learning about storytelling, videography, so many things. And I truly wanted to be a YouTuber, and I had no doubt I was going to do it with the same drive that I put in basketball. Like, this is it. And I did that for a while. And then I realized I really loved the recording of it. It was so much fun. I'm a huge extrovert, but the editing was killing me.
Yeah.
It's so much time for editing. It's not, and I could definitely hire an editor. That would have been definitely, I didn't have the budget for it at the time. And looking back on it, it's definitely something I could have done and pursued. But I'm happy that I didn't. Looking back on it, I decided that I it's probably not what I want to do. Let me, that was for around 4 months, maybe 4 or 5 months. I had that phase of YouTube after basketball, and I decided I don't know what to do. So I heard of the TV show called Undercover Billionaire, where a billionaire takes $100 bill. They go to a random country, change their random a city in the United States, change their name. They have to turn the $100 bill to $1 million in 90 days. And Grant Cardone, 10x, he did it. He actually started with zero money. He gave the $100 to a bank, opened a bank account, and said, "I want to prove you don't need money to make money." And he turned it to $5.2 million, 90 days. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I was like, that's crazy. He views it as a game. This is like just a game for him. And I was like, I was so attracted to his attitude towards life. And I was like, if he can do that, I'm gonna give myself a 90-day challenge. And I took a lot of notes, learned so much from the show. 90-day challenge to have after charity and expenses $10,000.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you real quick.
Of course.
So, because I like to, I pay attention to detail. One of the things that some people process things very fast.
Yeah.
I like to really look into them more deeply. So if you don't mind, if you could
No.
Thank you, brother. I would like to go to the actual dates. So if you could tell me the actual dates, roughly, if you don't know exactly, but when things happened, when you saw the video, when you put the 90 challenge, so we could have perspective. Right now, we're looking at Tuesday, May 24th, 2022, 5:14 p.m. So please, let's go to
EST.
reverse. And if you could
Let's do it.
walk
Of
me through
course.
that, walk us through that, actually.
It's a great question. So it was early September, approximately early September. I started doing
September what?
Of 2021. I started doing YouTube. I did that until January. I was posting
September,
weekly.
October, November, December. So 5 months.
5 months approximately. I was doing it weekly, pretty much.
Okay.
Especially for the last 3 months, it was like weekly. And January 17th was the date. I still have written down. I'm looking at it. January 17th was the date I decided I will have, after charity and expenses, $10,000 cash. 90 days to do it.
That goal?
April 17th came and I had 7,000. So I was 3,000 short after charity and expenses. And I don't know the exact money I made. I made approximately 9,000 after charity. I mean, before charity and expenses, but after charity and expenses was 9,000. I mean, 7,000. And it just showed me that, like, if I set my mind to something, I can make stuff happen. And I learned so much. Looking back on it, I wouldn't consider it a failure because I learned so much from it. So much.
Time. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You're 15 and a half, 16 years old, right?
It's 15 before I finished it.
15 years old.
Yeah.
And you make $9 grand of revenue. And you're saying, well, I'm looking at it as guys, if there would be an audience of 10,000 people here, you would hear like a raw clapping. Bro, come on. You gotta appreciate what you did. Like, wow. Can you imagine 15-year-old kids are happy to get $100 selling some, who knows what, some lemonade. And you brought in $9 grand when you set that in your mind. Does that show you what huge potential you have? So if you set a goal to make $1 billion and you bring 900 million, please, you can live with that. So I just want you to appreciate the magnitude of what you've done. And I want you to appreciate your potential of, like, wow. I mean, you probably know all this, just, reminding you of what you already know. But anyways, go ahead. I just needed to share that.
I appreciate that.
It wasn't a failure. Yeah. It's like you made it sound like you lost $100,000. You made $9 grand. Not it wasn't a failure. It was the way I would see it. It was an awakening of how much massive potential. Change how you frame it. Change how you look at it. I saw that I was able to take from zero, where I thought, maybe I'd make nothing, and I brought in $9 grand, almost getting to 10 grand. Wow. That's how I would see it.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely my hardest critic. Definitely my hardest critic. I appreciate that.
Well, maybe it would serve you. Again, I'm a coach. I'm all about you, the interview here, but it would serve you more to not be so critical. Because a lot of times we think that we got to be so critical and beat ourselves up. But where motion goes, motion creates energy, but where focus goes, energy flows. That's what I was looking for. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if you're focusing on what you didn't do, if you're focusing on judging yourself, That is what you're giving power to, your limitations, putting yourself down. So instead of focusing on that, focus on what did I do right? What did I shock myself? I started with nothing, 9 grand. Holy moly. Who else is doing that at my age? Nobody. Wow. Perspective. And then build upon how could I do more? How could I grow? But always be gentle with yourself. Be loving to yourself. Love starts with self-love. A lot of people, they're very loving to everybody but themselves. That's wrong. Charity begins at home and love begins at home. And that's how I live. That's what I believe. That's what I feel. So learning to not be like, if you would not be brutal to someone else and so like tough with someone else, don't do it to yourself. But go ahead. That was my 2 cents. Those are
I appreciate that. I agree. Even with charity, to give till it hurts. There are moments there where I was given charity, and it's the person that's giving receives more than the person that receives, right? I felt
right, but give it to
amazing.
yourself is what I'm
Right.
talking about. You
Giving to
have to give
myself.
to yourself maximally, because sometimes we give everything away and we're left with nothing.
Mm.
That's a sin. You know, in the Torah, it says you can't give away. Like if your family's starving to death and you're like, well, I'm helping the whole world and they don't have food to eat.
Yeah.
That is not being a tzaddik. That's being crazy. You got to make sure your family is fed.
Yeah.
Your family right now is you and, you know, whatever. But once, God willing, in the future, you have kids, you have a family, but you have to make sure that you are maximized with all of your needs.
Yeah. Appreciate
Okay.
that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
100%. Thank you. And after that, I realized I love sales. Found Grant
So
Cardone.
you did the challenge. You said it was from, again, the dates. I'm sorry, because we got sidetracked. I want to make sure
January
one thing.
17th to April 17th.
So what was the challenge? What were you doing exactly? What was the goal you set yourself? And then you said you met, you know, almost 100% of it, 9 grand. What was the goal you set for yourself?
The goal was to have $10,000 after charity and expenses. And I had
No, doing
7,000.
what? Doing what?
Doing what? I don't know. I didn't at the moment. I was like, Grant Cardone says who, what, how. Who do I need to meet? How and what? So I was like, I'm just gonna fully commit. Creativity follows commitment. I truly believe that. Courage is created through action. I believe that as well. I was like, I'm gonna commit to this, associate pain if I don't have it, and just do it. And the
Okay.
90 days is gonna pass whether I do it or not. So I'm just gonna do everything I can. There were days I worked for 16 hours. I mean, there were some days that were crazy. There were some very challenging days. It was probably one of the most challenging. It was one of top 2 or 3 most challenging things I've ever like physically done in my life. But I'm grateful for the experience.
But what was the product or service you were selling?
Great. So I started. I have no idea. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I was completely broke, $0, and I was like, I started with car washing. I was like, that's not good. It's too cold. It's too cold. Then I did videography
Okay.
because I did YouTube and videography. I got one client that wasn't. I didn't know what to do. Then I was thinking of doing doing juicing, doing some juicing, and that ended up falling through. And then I was talking with my father, what avenues of business can I go into? Grant Cardone, his whole thing was he didn't actually start his own company. I mean, he did towards the end, but his whole thing was to take a company, he's so good at marketing and sales, and to basically make the company blow up and get some equity in it. Because there's 31 million small businesses in America, or just businesses in general. 98.5% of them, 30 million out of 31 million, are under 3 million in revenue a year. They're tiny. They're tiny. And like 75% or whatever, or 2/3 are just one person, solopreneurs, don't have any staff. So my dad was like, why don't you work with me? I could teach you the business. I'll teach you sales, right? It'll be a paid internship. And I was like, let's do it. I'm down. I'm
When
down to
was
learn.
this?
This
Again, timeline.
was probably 2 weeks in. So this was January 31st. I believe it was the exact date, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So
And what does your father do? What does your father do?
he's an executive recruiter in wealth management.
Okay.
Executive.
So basically you tried a bunch of stuff. It brought you some money or no?
Yeah. Brought
How much did you
me
get before you got to that point? How much did you bring in?
around 500.
$500.
2
Okay.
weeks, if I had to guess, approximately.
Excellent. And then you went and your dad's like, I'll train you. I'll show you. Come on board. Executive wealth management recruiting.
he was like, yeah, I was like, any job opportunity. He's like, I'm down for you to help me out, and any job opportunity I can get, I'm gonna do it. I mean, anything that comes my way. And I'm very fortunate. I have someone that's right there that I know. That's my own dad who I can learn from. Not everyone has the opportunity. Um, I do believe even if it wasn't if I didn't have him, I would have been able to do it as well. I would have probably stuck with videography and
Yeah.
really pursued that because I already had clients lined up. I did. I was doing
Whatever
it for
happened to
free.
them?
I was doing it for free. I didn't end up doing it. It's too much too much time.
Oh,
I offered. I was taking action. I was very nervous, so scared, but I just did it. I
wow.
still remember deathly.
Wow.
And these
Bravo,
people, they
man.
said, yeah, we'll do it for free. Like, why not? Like, what's there to lose? So, but I ended up like not going through with those because I wasn't paying.
So,
So
wow. So, bro, like you are, wow. February 2022, you start working for your dad, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, fine.
And I did that, and I basically I did, yeah, I did everything and everything and anything and more he asked me to do. Like when it comes to sales and just training. And I went to, I think it was during it. I went to a 10x boot camp. Like I remember it was during it. It was a business conference. I went to business conferences. I went to just networking as much as possible and just meeting people in the community as well, and just building connections overall. And I learned a lot throughout the whole experience. And then the rest, most of my money from there was, yeah, most of my time as well was spent working with my father with his business, expanding that.
And that's from February till today.
Yeah,
February, March, April, May.
yeah.
Wow. Do you comprehend, brother? And the audience that's going to watch this, do you guys comprehend what Nathaniel is telling us? In a matter of 4 months, how much you've evolved. In
So
a
much.
matter of 4 months, how much you've explosively grown. That is, I think, all you should be focusing on. Not anything else, but like how you were able in 4 months to expand. So imagine if you take that energy and realize that potential and you take that out 10 years. You might be like, 10 years, bro, I'm 16 years old. That's 26. Exactly. Do you understand, Nathaniel, what potential is lying within you?
Mm.
It's so huge. I'm like, that's why like I have to do an interview. I've been wanting to do interviews forever, but once I met you, I'm like, this kid, forgive me, no disrespect, but this
Not at
kid,
all. I am a kid,
this kid,
teenager.
I'm like, I gotta interview this kid because he's like a genius, and he's like talking like a guy who's 10 times his age, and he's so smart, and he's such a leader, and he's a kid. Whoa, what is going on here? I need to explore this.
Thank you.
So what I'm telling you, thank you, brother. So I'm telling you, Nathaniel, is what you've done in a matter of 4 months should be indicative that if you 10x that, oh my gosh, how many souls will you touch? How much, I love the background. By the way, thanks, guys. Nathaniel helped me out. I'm still figuring out this whole technology with what's it called? With
Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but got the little world. But the world, the huge globe, the whole earth, like how much you can impact it. If you were able to grow so much in 4 months, where people that are kind of older than you, doesn't matter how much older, but older than you, and I like go and I respect your opinion and your experience and your knowledge and your ability to have grown. I mean, you're 16 years old. What do you know, right? That's what people can ask themselves. But you've studied and mastered already many other people that have taken decades to make their success happen. And in 4 months, you've taken that in, that already people can value you on a very high level. If you continue, not if, when, as you continue that path, I just see huge things happening for you. God Hashem, God willing, but God wills and He wants. Like the Rebbe used to say, he says, Hashem wants, go do it. Hashem wants.
Exactly.
So, so I see you doing so much for this world. I see you like turning this world upside down. And also I see you encouraging every single kid, again, no disrespect,
No, not at
every
all.
single kid out there that's questioning themselves, that may have been bullied, may have had challenges, may have had parents that gave them a hard time. Who knows what they've been through? I don't know. But they see like, wow, look at Nathaniel. If Nathaniel could build an empire at 20 years old, he's already a trillionaire, which you probably he surpassed Elon Musk. I mean, that's my vision for you. Why
Thank you.
can't I? Why can't I go and overcome the little challenges comparatively to what this kid did? So that's how I see it. That's my perception of you.
Thank you very much for very lofty words. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So if I can ask you,
Of
Nitana,
course.
you said no holds barred.
Anything.
You told me your background. You told me you went to school. You had some, with homeschooling that. But is there a background story that you haven't really shared with us that you would like to share? I did see your facial expressions when I mentioned bullying, mentioned this, mentioned that. I don't know if it has anything to do with you or friends, whatever. But again, only talk about what you want to discuss. But is there
Anything. I'm
something?
open.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Is there
100%.
anything that you can share that can add value to the audience in a massive way of what really built who you are? Because this is my belief, and I'm sorry that my question is like 3 hours, but I like to give very precise questions.
Anything.
My belief is that who you are today is not an accident. It didn't just happen. It was based on conditions and decisions. You had certain conditions and you made certain decisions. Had you made other decisions, it would be a different result. Had you made, right? So my question is, if you would like to share, what were the conditions for the 15 and a half or whatever years to lead you to that breakthrough? And then what were the decisions? So what were the conditions and what was the decisions in your biography that created the Nathaniel Empire? That's what I want
Thank
to
you.
know.
Still in the works. That's a great question. Conditions. Let's
Take a
start with
breath.
that.
Take a breath.
Take a breath. Let's start with
It's
the
a deep question.
conditions.
I know. I'm
No, it's great. It's great. My parents.
Your parents. Tell me
My
more.
parents. They, both their parents, I should say, not both. They came from not the best, from parents like arguing, and then my father had his parents had divorced, and it wasn't a good environment. They got married 20 and 21, very just young overall, and they really worked on their marriage a lot. Tremendously. They're really, both my parents are very spiritual people, very kind people, very loving people, caring. I don't even know where to begin with them. They definitely, I attribute so much of who I am to my father. I see people who don't have the father figure in their life, or if they do, it's not a positive one. And I see what that can do for somebody in a negative way. And to have a father figure in my life who I can look up to in literally every single aspect, it's absurd. Like the positive he's worked on himself a lot in character and in so many things. And I attribute a lot of it to my parents, to being able to it's my parents. It's my parents. I don't know how, I don't know exactly what to pinpoint it on, but if I just had to say my parents, I know it's a vague answer. Maybe you could probe a little bit more.
I'll do that.
Yeah, of course.
You already know me too well. But okay, so a lot of people have fantastic parents. A lot of people have wonderful parents. And guess what? More often than not, their kids are not even close to what I'm seeing in you, my brother. So I love your parents. I never met them. I can't wait. Looking forward. But that's great. And I give them their credit and thank you very much. But
Sure.
I'm interviewing you right now, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
What happened within you in terms of your conditions and in terms of your decisions? I want you to take away the external people, forces, and stuff. And I want you to focus on the Nathaniel person that we're discussing. This
Deep
huge
question. It's a very deep
impact for good
question.
in the world. Go ahead.
I think it's such a deep question. My
I told you
decisions.
I'm not going to give you real
All right.
questions.
As a kid, I've always reached up in relationships. I was 3 years old playing with 7-year-olds, even in Sfat, even in Israel. When I came here, my best friend was, I think he was 2 or 3 years older than me. I was 6, he was like 9 or whatever, 2.5 years. I, my best friends to this day are all older than me. I have a very few,
Natana, you're breaking up a little.
yeah.
Natana, you break up a little bit. Can you just, I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but go
No
ahead.
worries.
Yeah, 'cause it's like so important. I don't want to miss out. Go ahead.
Thank
Just
you.
one more time.
So where should I start from?
So you said, let me just see if it's my connection or yours. No, mine looks good. Is it your connection? Okay, but go ahead. You're talking about you were a kid and you were in Spot. So if you could just
Yeah.
go back, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to do this, but I think
Oh,
that this will really impact the viewers. I mean, I just want us to comprehend what we're doing right now. I am confident that years from now, decades from now, kids are going to be watching this video and you're going to lift them up. So
amen.
I want them to not miss one
Amen.
iota, one nakuda, one
Thank you.
thing of what you're sharing. So please, I
Thank
apologize
you.
to make you do this again,
No,
but if you could share
not at
again,
all.
go ahead. So
My
you're in
pleasure.
spot, but go ahead.
And I was 3 and my friends were like 6 and 7.
Okay.
I always reached up in relationships regarding maturity, and usually that came with age as well. I've even now my best friends are all older than me. I have very few friends. I could count on one hand friends that are younger than me. That are like true friends. I've always connected with people who are more mature. My aunt said that I'll probably marry a woman that's older than me. I just gravitate towards people who are more mature. I don't know, to be honest, I don't know where that came from. It just never resonated with me like the I know like I'm open book, so I know like teenagers, right? Like a lot of them are become like I don't know the perverts, I guess, right? Like it's a perverted mind or however you want to word it. I never necessarily went through that phase. I kind of like skipped it. Like that never really appealed to me. Like I was like, why? I have some friends that are younger. They're like, oh, I want to get a girlfriend, right? And to me, my perspective is if you're not dating for marriage, you're dating for heartbreak. And to
Say
have,
that one more time.
if
If
you're
you're,
not dating for marriage, you're dating for heartbreak, right?
wow.
Right. And why spend all this time on a person, have my heart going this way, and I'm trying to focus on business and and then when you're infatuated with someone, it takes up your whole life. It's consuming. I want to focus on who I am. Instead of looking for the one, become the one. I've always
Wait, one more time.
yeah,
Instead of,
instead of looking for the one, become the one. Everything you want to marry, write it on a piece of paper and become that, so to speak. All right. And also from their perspective, who do they want in a husband? And become that as well. Think from their perspective as well. And and I think just reaching up in relationships has definitely been a big part of who I am because I definitely believe people around you have a huge influence on you.
wow, just wow. I mean, I hear Rabbi Victor Miller. You heard of Rabbi Victor Miller?
I've heard of him.
Okay, so I hear his voice in you too. He says, it's not about finding the right one, it's about becoming the right one. Literally his words. And you
There it
just
is.
said,
Yeah.
it's so on point. It's huge. It's very huge. Um, so wow. I just need to absorb all this. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Um, so, but again, I'm still probing deeper.
Sure, go for it.
I'm not getting the clear answer yet
Mm,
of what conditions you were through that created the decisions you've made. Well, I heard some stuff. Okay, let me tell you what I heard so far. I heard you made decisions about not dating for, frivolity or just for fun or whatever it is, but dating only for marriage and being more structured and all that. But I still didn't hear much about your conditions and your bio in terms of those conditions. You did mention about your parents' conditions. They had a little bit of a more rough background from their family, and they made decisions with which generationally
has
helped
changed.
you benefit. And by the way,
Very
that,
grateful.
that that's something really quick, if I can for intersect for a second. It's like I think it was Tony Robbins, someone else says, when does it stop?
When
In
it
other
hits
words,
me. No.
no.
Okay.
Let me see what I mean. When
Okay.
does it stop? Like certain times there's something going on in a family and it's passed on from father and mother to son and daughter. It's passed on, passed on, passed on. When does it stop? And my point is, your parents, I see them as they've made a decision that it stops by us. And they created an environment, from what you're telling me, that was them saying enough to the past and here to the future, to the new world of how we want to live. And that's what they did. And that's awesome. And if I would interview them, I'd explore that. But guess what? I'm interviewing you, brother Natano. So I want to know about your conditions. And I want to know
Hmm.
about your decisions that led to you becoming who you are. So let's start with the conditions. What were the conditions you went through where you were searching for yourself? What made you go away from private school? Again, you said no holds barred. If you don't want to talk about it, don't. But
No, I'm open book. I'm
so
completely.
I respect that and I appreciate that. So what made you leave private school? What made you this? What were like the conditions, the environment, the bumps, the challenge, the story, the pain to make you break through and
Okay.
then become the Natano and make the decisions of who you are today, which is, I think, step one of 10 trillion, because you're going to shoot up a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. But go ahead.
Okay. Deep stuff here. In first grade, I was bullied. First grade,
Mhm.
and I, my parents told the principal, and he said, "You don't care. You should man up." So they transferred me.
Wow.
I don't remember the bullying. I don't, but that's what they told me. I transferred to Hank, and I remember going to school, and I just hated everything about it. They told me I felt like a prison. They told me what to think, when I could go to the bathroom, when like I saw no purpose in it at all. I felt no fulfillment from it, and I hated it. It's been a really long time. I'm not gonna lie, since I've been in school, around 6 years, so I couldn't tell you day to day exactly like what I hated it, but I just remember hating it. I hated homework. I hated the homework a lot. I still remember that.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm grateful enough that my parents, they said, we don't believe in school. We didn't like that our parents made us to go to school. We didn't like school either. And we really believe and we have the capacity to homeschool you guys. And it wasn't actually homeschool, it was actually unschool. So homeschool is where you do
Unschool?
school. Homeschool is where you do school at home. I just say homeschool because it's easy, but unschooling set means kind of like what Elon Musk does with his kids, kind of like Montessori style. So you kind of learn whatever the heck you want, to put it blunt.
Well, I don't really know much about that. And
Okay,
maybe I
so
find it.
so
Can you?
I'm fourth grade, and my parents like, what do you want to learn? I'm like, I don't know, right? And maybe some math, history, science, like basic stuff. And over the years, I really got to see what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. I'm very gifted in math, but I don't enjoy it. I hate science. History is boring, so my parents didn't make me learn it. They're like, it's that simple. You don't have to.
So I'm just trying to understand. So homeschooling versus what you experienced, what you said,
Unschooling.
oh, Elon Musk does. So yeah, I'm not really clear about that.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
share for a
So
second? So just share with the audience what that means.
it's a great question. Homeschooling is when someone does pretty much all the same school curriculum just at home on a computer.
Mhm.
Unschooling is when you're not in school and you just learn what you choose to learn. You're not forced to learn anything. It's very simple.
Mm,
It's so if I didn't want,
wow.
if I didn't have a desire to learn math, obviously a basic level of math, reading, writing are very important for life. But in general,
Of course.
algebra math, and I've learned algebra, but I didn't necessarily need to, right? And calculus and stuff, I never learned that. I don't plan on ever doing that. Geometry, never plan on learning that either. That doesn't apply to me, and I don't want to, and I have no desire for it. I don't see how it can stand to benefit me in my life. So those are like the main differences between unschooling and homeschooling.
Wow, excellent.
And
So,
yeah,
but
no, you
no,
guys, you guys.
no, you were saying, I just wanted to clarify that, but I want you to continue what you're saying. So you basically went and you were not homeschooled, you were unschooled, which means you went after what you loved, what you were passionate about, what lit you up. And what was that? What lit you up? What are you
At,
passionate?
at the time,
Hmm.
at the time, I was in fourth grade. I really loved Minecraft. I still remember. and I did coding with it.
What was it?
Minecraft. It's a video game.
What's Minecraft? Oh, video game.
It's a video game.
Okay.
And I did coding. I remember I was doing a lot of coding as well.
Oh, well,
I did coding with it. And then I was like, oh, it's not that fun. And then I'm trying to think. I was just a kid. Like, I even, as I mentioned before January 17th, right? When I was the money challenge for $10,000, money didn't motivate me at all. You could pay me $100 an hour, I wouldn't have done it. I didn't care. Money, there was not a motivator in my life. I was literally asking one of my friends, why are you motivated by money? I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, what is there about money? I didn't get it. And as a kid, even then, I had no concept of money. Like, it was nothing. And I back then I was into engineering as well. I remember I went through an engineering phase, wanted to be a mechanical engineer. I went through different phases of who I want to be. I wanted to be an outdoorsman, also like a nature person who just lived in the forest. I thought that was like the coolest thing. There's no concept of money or people or cars. You kind of just live on your own in the forest. I thought that was cool. Camping, like um I went through different phases overall. So now I'm going through and then I went through basketball and YouTube, now business. Just
so you know what I
finding who I
hear?
am.
You know what I hear from you, Natano?
Right.
I hear a man who's searching for the truth.
Yeah.
I kind of hear in your voice Avram Avinu,
Mm,
our grandpappy Abraham, who would search for what's this world about? Who created the world? Who am I? Where is my role in this world? And he discovered God, but it didn't happen right away. He first went through, well, maybe it's the sun, maybe it's the moon, maybe it's, and he found God, and then he went to impact the world and bring out kindness and bring out goodness. And I hear that path with you. I hear that with you, where you're going ahead and searching through this and searching through that. And can you please for a moment give yourself a lot of love and respect for that? How you're able to go from one thing to the next and literally go ahead and not lose motivation, not lose energy, and say, okay, that wasn't for me. I'm ready for the next thing. That wasn't for me. I'm ready for the next thing. So that is just so huge and really should lift up anyone watching this to understand that if you failed, that's okay. Failure at something is a currency to find what you truly want. It's the cost of entry to finding your calling. And you may have to go through tons of things and you'll continue to evolve. 10 years from now, you may find a completely different path that will get you to what brings you the most satisfaction. But the point that you're so wholesome and sincere and authentic in exploring that, like the world, right? That to me is huge. Wow.
thank you. I attribute that to my parents for giving me that freedom as a kid to be able
Yeah.
to do that. And with basketball, it was the only time in my life where I felt like a failure ever.
Really?
I felt
Well,
like a
what happened?
failure
Why did you feel like
because I committed 3 years of my life to this. 8 drinks, slept basketball, literally hours and hours a day.
from 13 to 16, 13 to
It
15?
was 2018. I don't remember exactly when I took it seriously because it was either 2018 to 2019. It's either 2 or 3 years.
Okay,
That
2 or 3.
2 or 3, I don't remember, but it was like everyday thing. Literally, I literally had a streak of every single day playing basketball. Like I kept on my notes. It was hundreds and hundreds of days, and I stopped. I stopped, and I felt like a failure because it was my identity. I was a basketball player. That's who I am. Like that's who I am. That's what I do, and I no longer having that. I felt like all the work, all of this work is literally down the drain. Years of my life. I felt like a failure. I
So
never
what
felt
was
like
the
that.
alternative identity that you found?
It's a great question. I found meaning. I guess I found meaning in it. I found meaning that I'm grateful for being able to meet my coach and having him in my life for the time I did. I'm grateful for all the lessons basketball's taught me. So many life lessons that it's one thing to there's different aspects of knowing, the 4 levels of knowing, right? There's between knowing and then like knowing and then knowing enough to actually apply it.
Mm.
And I really have been able to through basketball, not even knowing that I don't know, to really knowing enough about so many aspects of character, integrity, communication, maturity, being the bigger man, and actually being able to apply that.
So in closing,
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you a few quick things. So number one, I wanted to ask you, where do you see Nathaniel for the next 16 years?
16 years, double my life. It's a great question.
Double your life, but time at Nathaniel, but just want to give you perspective. Most of the most successful people on the planet didn't even start till they were well in their 30s, usually in their 40s. So you starting at 16, the next 16 years is like huge. But where do you see yourself? If it makes it easier for you the next 10 years, but I would say, where do you see yourself in the next 16 years? Right, exactly, doubling the next lifetime. Because the truth is, people don't realize the first like 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 years of our lives are really just the introduction. Most people, by the way, Nathaniel, just to give you, again, perspective, your age, they're still in school, they're still being told what to do, how to do, what to go to the bathroom, like you say, and they continue that into college, into grad school. So they're waking up at 24, 26, 28, just trying to get a job for the first time and figure out what the hell am I here for? And you already started that at 14, 15, 16. So my question is, where do you see yourself going in the next 16 years? Close your eyes if you want or not, but like imagine yourself, imagine you're doing the reverse. You're looking down at 32 years old to today, to this conversation. Where are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Where are you living? What are you doing for the world? What's your vision, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and socially?
Wow. Thinking about it makes me excited. Okay. So personally, I am married to my beautiful wife, God willing, beautiful kids, healthy, all of us healthy, God willing.
God wills, and he wants. Go ahead.
Yes. And all my relationships are prosperous. My wife, my kids, my God willing, as well as my parents and siblings and friends. I am, from a professional standpoint, I own my own executive search firm. Approximately 16 years. I didn't do the exact math on it, but I would say probably 300 employees. If I was doing the math, approximately 200 to 300. Let's say 300. It would be doing 30. It would be doing, God willing, $100 million a year in revenue. It's my goal right now.
Well, with inflation, is it going to be more like 150?
We'll see. Right, there it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
100 million, and go from there in revenue. Financial standpoint, I'm a multimillionaire in this eight figure plus range. I am giving at least 20% of my after minimum expenses to charity.
Lean Nether.
Lean Nether, exactly. Lean Nether.
Yes.
I'm able to really support everyone, right? Not to give handouts, but to give hand ups and really support. And it hurts. I never want to have to say, like, I would believe that my parnasa will come from the radiance of my wife and who she is, and Sean Bias, so on and so forth. And also who I am as a person. And I don't want to be able to say we can't afford that. Rather, how can we afford that? Even that, I don't want to be able to say, how can we afford that? She wants a $5,000 this, a $20,000 that. She wants to, like, let's do it because we can. Right? You want this? I can help these people. Like, if I give someone $1, that's great. If I give someone $100, I change their day. I want to be able to really have true change and impact, and to have enough money to be able to do that. And then also to learn. Rav Nachman talks about koveat zman, to steal time during the workday. I really want to be able to work on myself to have enough faith that I'm able to step an hour or two a day during work hours and say, no, I'm learning now because I know it's all from God. It's where my money comes from. To really be able to do that. And socially, spiritually, I'm continuing to grow. I'm a master of my mind. mastermind, continue to grow, and to continue to have, thank God, Shmirat Naim, Shmirat Tabrit, it's very, very important to continue to be, it's something I've worked on a lot. I'm sure,
Wow.
I'm as a,
Can you take us through that? I'm sorry.
sure,
Yeah.
no, not at all. I'm an open book. It's a great question. Through that whole thing. So it's been a journey, as most people are, as most people have been. I mean, with masturbation, pornography, I mean, that for 90 to 95%, last time I checked, or at least 90% of guys watching it a few times a week. And women, it's around 40 to 50%. It's an epidemic. No one really talks about it. Where does it stem from? Addiction isn't the problem, it's the solution. It stems from loneliness, lack of connection and love.
Mm.
So I've worked a lot, and with God's help, to continue to give me the strength on on that aspect of my life, and having the strength and the connection there, accountability to be able to say never again, and not even look back. Right.
But how did you work on that? That's what I really want to understand. You can tell me about the problem, but I want to know on how we can take things from you and grow from what we're hearing.
How can someone
How are you
work
able
on
to
it?
work on yourself and build, steps to really have that controlled in a way that serves you and your growth and your connection with your creator? It's a big struggle for everyone.
Of course. Two things. Desperation. Someone's
Desperation.
someone's got to be so desperate that they say a few things. I surrender to God. Please give me humility. I could be grateful, then I could be happy. So steps: surrender, humility, grateful, happiness, so to speak. So if someone's really happy, right? They really are happy, and they don't have that void of love and connection. They don't have that void. It's so much easier. So easy, like it's always going to be a challenge. Or the halt, hunger, angry, lonely, tired, or bored. There's going to be moments of weakness, but overall, as well as there needs to be enough leverage in someone's life to change. You need to be able to say never freaking again, never again. There needs to be enough leverage in someone's life to do that. And if someone can't surrender, doesn't have, it's not enough, it's not, you need to be massively disturbed to have change. If someone doesn't have that, it's not going to happen. You can't force someone. And just to be straight up honest, it's like an alcoholic having a bottle of booze on him 24/7.
I'm sorry, I missed that. An alcoholic.
It's like having a bottle of booze on him 24/7.
Oh, having it 24/7. Okay.
Right. Just on him all the time. They did a study for 12-year-olds, kids, like not 12, I think it was just teenagers who have and haven't watched pornography, to see how the brain reacts. And they could not find kids who haven't watched it. There was no controlled study. They couldn't even do the study. It's not possible. It just doesn't exist nowadays.
Well, I guess they didn't. Did they study the Hasidic community, like the ultra? Because I don't know.
No, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Wow.
You'd be surprised.
Wow. But my
So
question, yeah, yeah.
no,
So
I don't even know what I was gonna say.
No. Come on. We want to hear it. We want to get
Right.
that
So what?
awesomeness.
So it's a challenge. The harder the challenge, the greater the reward. The greater the reward.
But what I was gonna also ask is, like, what were the rituals that helped you really fight back in a very decisive way towards this? Like you said, you're 15, 16 years old. It's like, it's the peak time of this challenge, and you basically approach it. So what were the rituals, the steps you took that others can emulate and model, so that they too can start to control that aspect of their life and open themselves up to being free from this?
There's so much shame involved in it. It's unfortunate. It really
Shame.
is. Shame. Because it's a degrading act. People don't feel good afterwards. Lower self-esteem. People have to be willing to be vulnerable. Love without vulnerability is abusive. You have to be vulnerable, and you have to be honest, and you have to seek for help. Okay, whether that's with a friend, a group of friends, a therapist, whatever that is, that help, however they define it. You can't do it alone. That's one of the reasons people quit. Because they're at it alone. You can't be at it alone. You need support, and you're not alone. This is, unfortunately, it's a taboo subject, but everyone's going through it. I don't know why it's taboo at all. Everyone's
But
going through
again,
it.
so what were the rituals that helped you,
Okay,
besides
well,
exploring that it's a problem and realizing and all that? unless there weren't any rituals and just you explored it. But if there aren't any rituals that you can share
Rituals.
to help us, like any steps you took
Yeah,
that really helped you
yeah,
along.
yeah. Awareness. That's one thing. Not
I
just
can hear you
going,
one more time.
awareness, awareness.
Awareness.
Not just going on the train, but seeing yourself go on the train. That means that you tie your emotion to an action. I'm aware. Like right now, I'm aware I'm hungry. after whenever dinner, I'm looking forward to dinner now. But I'm aware of it. Most people, they're bored. They mindlessly scroll on social media. They're not aware of it, right? There's something called moments of weakness. It's an acronym, HALT. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and also bored. I'd added into it. And
Wow.
if I'm aware, okay, I'm hungry right now. If I dwell on it and I don't eat, right, what's going to happen is it's a moment of weakness. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably mindlessly scroll social media to something unproductive, usually something not very good, or thoughts gonna come into my head that I don't want to, unproductive thought, whatever that is. And if I give energy and meaning to that thought, if I give energy to the thought, then it'll continue to grow. Rather than saying, okay, I'm hungry. What do I do when I'm hungry? Who am I? I'm a healthy person. I trust myself. These are all I'm someone who is whatever my identities are. What would a person like that do? I eat. When I'm hungry, I eat. It's that simple. When I'm angry, I turn my what's the word? In, my expectation into appreciation. When I'm tired, I sleep. When I'm lonely, call a friend. Right. And just being aware of how I'm feeling and what I do when I feel that way. Just being
So,
aware.
so awareness. What
Awareness,
about being busy? Does that help you?
being busy. All right. How do you trick the devil by having a full calendar? Yeah, being bored. Being bored is a huge one. Unfortunately, so many kids now come home from school and are bored, and they don't know how to channel it. Boredom is a double-edged sword. It could make someone super creative and super driven and super, I can't be bored, or it could get kids into drugs, alcohol, all sorts of addictions of every kind.
So
Yeah,
you being busy has helped a lot.
oh, 100%. You need
So
to
we
be
have
busy.
awareness, we have being busy. One more thing that we can
Got a few
use
more.
and
Got a few more.
take. Oh, a few. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Awareness, busy, surrender. Another thing I'd say surrender is it's not me. It's not me. Anyone who thinks they can do anything on their own is, especially any sort of addiction, is just crazy. Like, let go, let God. You have to have the desire as well. So I say it pretty much every day. God gives me the desire to be my best self. He gives me the willingness to be my best self. If I don't have the willingness, how on earth am I ever going to do it? Anything. So to have that innate desire and surrender, God, I'm letting go and letting God. What can I do? Not why. Why is this happening? What can I do? It's happening for me. So just to surrender to a thought, right? It's like if something, a thought you don't want to be thinking about comes into your head, right? Imagine it's a big beast calling you. It's like an 8-foot guy, huge, and he's calling you into the boxing rink. He's like, come here. You could, you have two options. You could either put one toe in it. The second you put a toe in it, he's picking you up and he's knocking you out in the rink. Or you could say, I surrender, you and get all the credit. I don't care. Those are your options. A thought comes into my head. It's calling me, so to speak. I can either give it thought and energy and step in the rink, or what I can do is I can say, you know what? I surrender. God, I surrender. Please give me the willingness to be my best self. I surrender. What's
But
next?
when you say surrender, who are you surrendering to?
To God. I'm just surrendering. I'm
Oh,
just
not to the addiction or the negative thing.
well. Also, yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
also I don't know if it's the right thing to do. I don't know, but that's kind of what I do as well. I just surrender to the thought. I'm like, I surrender. You win. I surrender to the addiction. Surrender to the thought. I'm like, you win. What's next? Get all the credit. Win the boxing match. I'm teleporting out of the stadium, so to speak. I don't even want to be in this area of thought.
Is that what it is? Because it kind of sounds like you're telling the addiction or the thing, hey, you win, but God, I need your help. Kind of like having that big brother, the Havdil, but like having that big protector, that king. You're fighting with someone, and he comes with big guns, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. You win, And then the army comes, and behind you have the whole US Army. Like, dude, you're striding with this guy, you're dead. You know, it's done. So when you say surrender, do you surrender really? Or do you say, I surrender where I give everything to you, God, because this is bigger than me, greater than me, and it's impossible for me to overcome it. So God, take care of it. I need you. Trusting in Hashem, bitachon. So tell me,
There it is.
what do you mean? What do you mean?
Good question. So yeah, just surrendering to God in general, like just yeah, to surrender and say, you're my
This is
strength.
greater than me. This is
You're
greater
greater than
than
me.
me.
This is way greater than me. I'm like an ounce in the water compared to this. I cannot do anything without you. I need you. All comes from you. And that's another thing that's been helpful, and accountability. Being with people who everyone's going through this. Everyone's faced the facts here. Everyone. A very small amount of people have already overcome this. And but to be with people, and even then it's a challenge. It's a challenge for the rest of your life. It is. It's a challenge. No other way to put it. But to be to have friends who you're open and you talk about this, and it's a daily thing where whether you have group chats or whatever, where you're like, you just talk. It doesn't necessarily have to be about this topic, but just to talk about just to talk, to have that loving connection where you can really be vulnerable with people, and there's no judgment, total understanding, because everyone has been there, done that. Let's face the facts.
But when you say it's a challenge for everyone, I mean, you mentioned the metaphor before about being hungry,
Yeah.
right? When you're hungry and you have no way to satisfy that hunger, that's one level and one experience. If all of a sudden you have a rib steak cooking at home, you might see something delicious, but hey, you're like, oh, that's not kosher. I might want to eat it. But you know what? I have my steak at home. I'm good. I can hold myself. I'm not that, craved. So my question is, you're right, everyone goes through it, but does it change, in your opinion, once you basically create a kosher way to have that experience through marriage, through building a home? Because, it says in the Torah, you got to get married very young, which for you is very apropos, right? You're 16 years old, you're already like such a big leader. So maybe you will get married at 17, 18. Who knows? I mean, I'm not here to, pressure you or anything, but I would say that, I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Not pressuring me.
Totally. But what I'm saying is like, maybe that is something else as well. Realizing that, is it the same challenge when you have a wife, when you have a family, when you have that way to satisfy that hunger, to connect, to show love, to be with someone emotionally, intimately, versus when you're not? And I will tell you what my opinion, but I want to hear what you think.
Great question. It's a great question. No one should ever say, when I get married, then act as if you're married. I'm ready to become a husband. Have that belief. I'm ready to become a husband fully. Right.
So you would get married tomorrow if you find the right girl and you're ready?
No, because I'm not ready. I'm honest with myself. I don't have the belief yet because I know it's not
When
true.
do you see yourself getting married? I talked about 16
The next 5 years, God willing. The next 5 years.
Okay.
5 years. Hopefully, I mean, that's just probably when I'm 18. Probably start dating. God willing, we'll see. We'll see. So, my opinion, this is my take on it. It says in the Talmud, right? The sexual organ, right? When it's fed, it's hungry. When it's starved, it's full, satiated.
Say that again.
When the sexual organ is starved, it is satiated, and when it's fed, it's hungry.
Okay.
So it does become. I mean, if someone has that love and connection in their life overall, right? They're not going to feel a need 99% of the time. It's obviously moments of weakness, but not going to feel that need. And even though in those moments of weakness, there's a lack of love and connection in general, but they're not going to feel that need to watch pornography or masturbate or anything like that, right? But when someone is married, right, and they're able to do that in a healthy manner, from a Torah perspective at least, it does become easier. The challenge is still there. Wow. But it definitely, I'm not going to say it's gone. It's easier. But that's It doesn't mean it's not challenging.
Okay.
That's my take on it.
And fantastic. In closing,
Yeah.
3 things that you feel you've learned in your growth in the last 16 years that you can share with the audience that you feel would be transformative for them. 3 things that are really massively important that you think could save people a lot of time and frustration and pain, because you have been searching. You're 16 years old, but your search, to me, has been more comprehensive than a guy searching for 10,000 years. Like you've been, I try this and I try that, and you found, or you're finding your way. So 3 things that can help anyone searching for the meaning in life.
Searching for meaning.
Or searching for their fulfillment or whatever. Like 3
Right.
things, the 3 things that you think would be 3 takeaways that people can take from you today that would make this hour and 18 minutes worth their time like nothing else on this planet. Go ahead.
It's a lot of pressure. I should have to think about it. I'm going to be honest with you. Whatever I say, I feel like is going to be obvious.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Go
matter.
ahead.
Okay, I'm going to say one. I'm just going to say one idea. Okay, like one.
Start with
Like,
one and then we'll add the other 2. Go ahead.
the idea is that I'm sure a quick story. And, there's a guy. He's stuck in his car. He's banging on the window. No one's coming to help him. His car is stuck. It won't move. It's broken. Banging, banging, yelling. No one's helping him. And when he finally stops saying, "Why me?" to "What can I do about it?" he gets out of his car, realizes it's his responsibility, puts it in neutral, starts pushing it. When he starts pushing it, other people come to help. When you help yourself, other people will help you. So not to ask why me, but what next. Don't ask why,
So the
ask
first
what.
thing would be don't ask.
Yeah,
One more time.
you'll never get a good answer with asking why. There's just not an answer out there. I don't know how else to put it. Why did my coach die at 54, 55? That'll get me nowhere in life. Now that it happened, what can I do about it?
But isn't that kind of connected to what we said? Conditions and decisions. Remember what I was asking you? What conditions did you go through and what decisions did you make? Conditions is him passing on. Decisions is the decisions you made. You're going to continue to flourish. You're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to all the things you discussed. So conditions versus decisions. But again, so what's the takeaway? Thank you, brother. I mean, I love this, what you're giving us, like worth gold and diamonds and rubies and Bitcoins if it ever comes back. It's worth all the whatever you value. But like more clearly, what's that one thing? Clearly, like more precise and like 10 words, 7 words. Like what would that be? I need 3 things, three takeaways.
First,
please.
the power of what, not why.
One more time, the power
of what. The power, I don't know how to, the power, it's, I would refer to it as the power of Ma.
The power of
Ma. Memhe. Ma. Ma is one of God's names in Hebrew. Ma is one of God's names.
Okay.
God's, right? He has many names. It's the gematria in the each letter, right, has a number correlation is 45. Mem is, right, and He is 40, that's 45. Adam is also 45, right? Earth, the first man ever. He's also 45. He's in order. Aleph, Dalet, Mem. His letters are in order. You have Chava. Chava is in disorder. Her letters are backwards, alphabetically speaking. She's 19. Okay. She represents disorder because her name is backwards, right? Her letters are backwards. So you have 45 minus 19. You have 45, the power of God's name. You take away 19, take away the disorder. You're left with 26, which is also one of God's names, right? Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, and it comes to teach us that when people are picking hundreds off the ground, no one's asking why. But the second someone gets smashed with the rock over the head, they're like, why?
So what is that first thing? The first
thing is the power of what, not why. Don't ask why. Don't ask why. Ask what's next, because life's happening for you. Just the power of what.
Excellent. So the power of what. Don't ask why it happened, but what's next. Got it. Second one. Beautiful. Excellent.
Beautiful. I like to touch on that. One more thing is if you're ever going to ask why, I found if I ask why, everything's for the best. That's my belief. But if you ask why for things you deem as good,
right?
You'll be filled with gratitude.
One
Why?
more time.
Like,
You're
why,
losing.
God, why did I deserve to meet you?
Oh.
Shiftan. Why? I'm just filled with gratitude. I don't know why.
So
It's
focusing
not,
on your why.
yeah, like I can't, it's a bad question at the end of the day, like asking why. I don't know why, but I'm filled with gratitude. But if I ask why for the bad, then that starts a lot of bad stuff. You can't get an answer for that either way. So the power of what? Yeah. Number two.
Well, really,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
questions you ask yourself determine the answers. You ask
Better
bad
questions,
questions,
better
bad
answers,
answers.
100%. Yeah.
Like if you ask myself, if I say, why am I overweight? The answer is, oh, because you're acting like a pig eating everything inside. It's a bad question. If I say, how do I get to my fighter weight? Why is it important for me to get to my, so the quality of your questions are everything.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, second takeaway for people to take out of this, out of your experiences and, you know, in your growth process.
Yeah.
And by the way, I give you a lot of credit here for going so deeply
100%.
to the authentic part of yourself and really looking to give that love and that connection and helping other people. Wow, Natano,
Thank you.
you're up.
Thank you.
You're the best, brother. Go ahead.
100%. Likewise.
Thank you, brother. Number two.
Number two, I would say take action. Take massive action.
Mm,
Massive freaking action. Do what others aren't willing to do. Do what others are not willing to do.
wow.
Do whatever it takes. Whether just get out of your comfort zone, just take action. You can't, there's different zodiac signs. I believe in them. Some people are just overthinkers, just overthink everything, analyze, not actually take action. And other people are just gonna go at it dirty and just take action. And you just take action and just take action. I don't know how else to put it. But whenever you have a goal, ask yourself three things. Who do I need to meet? What do I need to do? And how is it gonna happen? In that order. Write down all the people in order to achieve my goal of having this executive company. I'm writing down all the names of all the people I need to meet and talk to. Step one. Who are people I could pick their brains and understand the business better, and so on and so forth. What conferences do I need to go to? Who? And just overall take a massive action in life. Be obsessed or be average. That's the simple. Take massive action. Be obsessed.
Wow, huge. Number three, the last final. Maybe take a second, close your eyes,
I
me too,
don't
for
even
a
think about
few
any of
seconds,
these.
and just like really go deep. If you would have one thing, only one thing that you could share with people, what would that acharon chaviv, that last thing that, take a few seconds, don't rush with the answer, please, that would really impact people, that would really make the difference between almost there and falling apart and getting there. That one takeaway to that kid that's being bullied and is in a really bad place and may even be suicidal. That one takeaway to that kid that doesn't know what he's gonna do with that. That one thing that has helped you that will help others. What is that one deep thing that you want to share with us?
All those situations, I would have to give different answers. The kid that's suicidal, I'd just give him a big hug and cry with him.
But I'm talking
That's
about,
my initial,
no, but I'm talking from his perspective.
from his
Now you're
perspective.
talking from outside, external. I'm talking about he doesn't get the hug. He's alone. Nobody knows. The parents are telling him you're crazy. Nobody wants to listen. His parents are rejecting him. He feels lost. He feels desperate. That I'm talking from the perspective of the kid.
The kid in that situation. Okay. What I was gonna
So
say
the
is
one
when,
takeaway.
right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when your shits become must, that's when you become successful. But I'm not gonna say that. Instead, if I had one thing I would say in that scenario, people feel like they're alone in the
I'm sorry,
world.
one more time.
People
I didn't hear you.
feel like they're alone in the world. Like if I was talking to
Right.
this kid, and I know you feel, it was right in front of me. I know you feel like you're the only person going through this. But I can tell you, there are thousands, tens of thousands of kids who are going right, who are in the same exact scenario you are in right now. You're not alone. There are so many kids you can reach out to, and people who are yet to be where you are, who already are where you've been, and everywhere in between. You're not alone with this, and there's hope. That's just what I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but just to understand that you're not alone. And a lot of times people get the concept of it's only me. I'm the only person going through this in life. Fun fact, most struggles people go through, 99% of other people go through it as well. Just like most things were put onto this earth, other people have it. It's pretty rare that one person has something that other people just that's not common. Usually most of our struggles are common. So there's other people just like you.
Wow, I love that because that's one of the biggest stories that we tell ourselves. We think that, oh my gosh, what I'm going through, nobody understands. Why? Like you said, why, God, what's going on?
Right.
But when you realize that what you're going through is so, so common, and
Yep.
everybody's going through that in a different way. Everybody experiences some level of bullying. Everybody experiences some judgment. Everybody experiences the challenges that you think are unique to you. When you
They're
realize that
not.
that's the process, everything changes.
Yeah.
When you take away the power of the bullying or anything else that's trying to take your life away from you, and you take that power away and that energy away, and it becomes powerless over you, that's when you start to live and reclaim yourself. When
Mm,
you realize that you are greater than any challenge, you are greater than anything that's happened to you. If you are being bullied, it's because God knows that you are a powerhouse that can take that bullying and build yourself from it and be able to love on a much higher level,
mm,
be able to save others on a much higher level. So everything, like you said, everything in life happens for you. So beautiful.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. For bullies.
Excellent. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
For bullies, right? Hurt people. And to agree with the bully, probably the best thing to do. Bully says something, just agree with them. And even do the yes and. So if they say you're dumb, like, yeah, I'm dumb and stupid too, right? Like the bullies don't know how to react when you, at least verbally. Bully when you agree with them, they get it. They're like, what? You weren't supposed to agree, like, right? So that'd be my tip. If someone's getting bullied, just agree.
And is success the best revenge against any bully? Being
Oh,
massively successful?
100%. Against any naysayer, any hater, massively, massively, stupidly successful, however anyone defines that. Yeah,
You probably know this, but if you don't, I'm just going to share it with you. Tony
please.
Robbins had bullies. He was a little tiny kid, and all of a sudden he shot up. You
I
didn't
didn't
know
know
that?
that.
He
No.
shot up to 6'7".
Yeah.
And he wrote in his kids' journals, in his high school journals, whatever, and he doesn't even remember. They showed it to him later. He says, guys, you're laughing at me, you're putting me down. One day I'm going to become huge and you're going to be nobody's truck drivers. And I'm going to be an impact for multi-million. I'm going to have a beautiful wife and a family. And you guys are going to regret how you treated me. And
There it
that's
is.
what I would add to your beautiful stuff. I mean, isn't that amazing? Like, wow,
Yeah, I agree. There it is. I love it.
brother,
I agree.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time. God bless you.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the great work. Keep us posted. Where can people find you? Where can they explore your content? Where can they connect with you? Please share with us. So we want to get more of Natanel.
Appreciate
Natanel,
that.
God gives, God gives. That's, I love, you said you had 8 names, but that name connects with me big time.
Yeah.
Natanel,
Thank you.
where can we find you?
Thank you. So Grant Cardone speaks about being omnipresent everywhere, being everywhere. So I just started. I'm definitely on YouTube under Nathan Kolish. I'm on
Can you
YouTube and
spell that
Nathan.
out for us?
Yeah, NATHANCOLISH, Nathan
Okay.
Kolish. I'm all the other social media. I just got Twitter. I got Twitter under Netanel Kolish. So it's NETANELCOLISH. I'm on Facebook under Netanel Kolish as well. I'm on Instagram. I don't really use it. Um, and I'm on Instagram,
What about
YouTube,
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn as well under Nathan Kolish.
Do you
And
have
but
a podcast?
I not yet, but I'm starting. I'm starting.
Anchor.
Definitely
Look into Anchor. Go ahead.
Anchor. Thank you. So this is from you. You're inspiring me to interview people and to have the
Thank you, brother.
podcast. And but on I post around 5 days a week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and just trying to grow my brand. So trying to offer value to people as much as I can.
Do you have a website?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay, I'm
Uh,
throwing ideas, brother.
yeah, I
So,
love it. I love it.
and then do you do any coaching one-on-one? Do you have any services that people can reach out to?
Yeah, anyone wants to reach out, I'm an open book. I love networking. I love connecting people and helping anyone and anyone in any way I can. So reach out to me. LinkedIn, you can email me on LinkedIn. You could comment on one of my YouTube videos. I'll see it and we could connect from there.
Etano, thank you, brother. God bless. Keep up the great work. And let's always remember to shift on with all of us. Shift on, Etano, all of
Oh
us.
man, shift on,
Thank
shift
you,
on. I
brother.
love it. Thank you. Take care.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.